Hey there, this is Tom Johnston with TomJohnston.org, and in today's video I'm going to give you a review of one of the 5 key books that helped me get to financial independence at about the age of 40. And that book is The Millionaire Next Door, written by Thomas, Stanley, and William Danko. This is really a fantastic book, and I'm going to tell you why I believe that's the case here in about 5 to 10 minutes. I really do recommend you go out and get this, and hopefully I can whet your appetite to go and get it from your library. I just wrote a blog post on this as well, and I will link to that at the bottom of this video. So without further ado, let me just give you why I think this is a fantastic book. So the 2 authors were PhD researchers, and they spent quite a bit of time, one of them going back to the 70s, researching the affluent in the United States. And they came to some really amazing findings, if you ask me. The book was published in 1996, was updated with a foreword in 2010. Basically, they found out that millionaires in the United States are often living next door to you because they don't always buy super fancy homes at all. And the overwhelming majority of them are self-made. Over 80% did not inherit wealth, close to 90% if I recall correctly. Also, the majority of them are entrepreneurs. They are not employees. They tend to have their own business, and it's something that they've built over time. And the authors come up with this concept, they call it PAWs, prodigious accumulators of wealth, and they contrast that to UAWs, which are underaccumulators of wealth. And the idea here is that you have many people in the United States who are making very good income, 6-figure incomes, and not accumulating assets. And these are the UAWs as opposed to the PAWs. Why they are doing that, according to the authors, one of the main reasons is that they are attempting to purchase social status. They are regularly buying really expensive $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cars, new, over and over again, often for both spouses, etc. And they're just, frankly, blowing through their money by buying status homes, status cars, status clothes. In contrast, the PAWs, the prodigious accumulators of wealth, really don't behave this way. They are focused on financial independence. They're focused on the freedom that entails. That's much more important to them than purchasing social status. They're often even sort of blue-collar entrepreneurs working in anything you can imagine. They might build up a business that produces some sort of industrial machinery, or even have like a janitorial service business that gets quite big. Of course, there are others. There's doctors, lawyers, professors, but they all have in common that they're prioritizing both what the authors call the offense, which is earning, but also the defense, which is how you handle the money that comes into your life so that it doesn't just slip away as fast as it comes in. I read this book, The Millionaire Next Door, right when it came out in the 1990s. I got it from the library, as a good prodigious accumulator of wealth probably would, and I would encourage you to as well. And for me, it really shifted my thinking. I had never really thought about what does a millionaire look like, but as the authors point out, the media has an incentive, because of advertiser dollars, to really glamorize a sort of hyper-consumption way of life, where you're just constantly buying things and being glamorous and trying to show where you fit into the social hierarchy based on consumption. I'm actually not necessarily saying that's a bad idea. Everybody gets to make these decisions for themselves. But the prodigious accumulators of wealth tend to greatly prioritize building assets and achieving financial independence, and with that, independence more broadly, where they have a lot more options. So I'm going to read to you the key factors that these authors identified as what leads to becoming wealthy. So here they are. They're quite quick. Number 1, those who become millionaires live well below their means. Number 2, they allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently in ways conducive to building wealth. This means they're spending time researching investments. They're focused on these things and prioritizing them. They believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status. Their parents did not provide economic outpatient care. By that they mean they didn't get financial support and assistance from their parents when they became adults. Their adult children are economically self-sufficient. Number 6, they are proficient in targeting market opportunities. And finally, they chose the right occupation. And that means they chose an occupation that could make them quite a bit of money. The other thing that I really enjoyed about this was that it delinked the media highlighting of sports stars and entertainment figures as role models for wealth. And they point out that those people are really outliers to the point of almost being statistically insignificant as a percentage of overall American millionaires. Meaning, the glamorous life that you see that these people are living in those niches of entertainment are really not at all representative of how American millionaires tend to live. And the key there probably is that the American millionaires are not really flashing and buying, mega mansions. Maybe if they get into the hundreds of millions, maybe they do, but according to these guys, probably not. These people are just wired to be frugal, thoughtful about money, understand the value of a dollar, as we say, and they just live their lives that way. So I'm not going to belabor this. That's The Millionaire Next Door in a nutshell. I highly encourage you to read it because it's not just their musings. These guys really did tremendous research. They conducted surveys and interviews with hundreds, if not thousands, of American millionaires, and they were able to really drill down and get a few data points that you would never dream of. Let me give you a couple more before we close. The number one car owned by American millionaires, at least as of the mid-90s, was a Ford F-150 pickup truck. 37% of American millionaires buy used cars because they just recognize that new cars lose value so fast, and these people are just value-oriented and they're smart with their money. The number one watch owned by American millionaire males is a Seiko. So no Rolexes for these guys. They're not spending thousands of dollars on suits. They're tending to buy their suits for $200-300 at places like JCPenney and Sears. This may shock you. It did me. It really shocked me. The idea that these super wealthy people are really not out there, buying the fancy stuff. And again, for me, it was fantastic because it helped me break free of a lot of the unconscious assumptions that we adopt in our society growing up, just seeing images, getting these ideas of what it means to be wealthy. And it allowed me to be much more conscious of how I was spending money and being clear about what I value. I just never valued really fancy cars. I like cars. I like what they can do to get us around, but personally, I've just never felt. In fact, for me, driving around in a $60,000 car would be signaling not status, but stupid with money. Now, maybe if I had tens of millions of dollars, it would be different. But until you're at that point, to me, you're signaling, I've decided to work for 2 more years in jobs that I may or may not like because I want to have this fancy car. That may not be you. You may be big into cars, or you may have your reasons. The entertainers probably have a reason to really live that glamorous lifestyle because it kind of hypes up their image and makes them more attractive to people on some level, perhaps. But again, for me, The Millionaire Next Door really fits the pattern and priorities that I have, and I think it might for you as well. I certainly encourage you to take a look at it, get it from your library. If you love it, then you can buy it. If not, you've just gotten it from the library, you can skim it. But again, the data in there is really quite surprising. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate your time taking a look. And I hope to talk to you again about other books in the future and just other things having to do with building the life of your dreams. Thank you very much.